Okay, well, the mystery has been cleared up as to what this is. The sample with the W on it, both on the top and on the bottom. The W stands for Water of Windsor. It would be this one here. Canadian Club Chronicles 41-year-old. Now, unbeknownst to Fraser Henderson, I was at the whiskey festival, the Victoria Whiskey Festival, back in January. And I was at the grand tasting of Canadian Club 41 with Tish Harkis, their global brand ambassador. And so I have had this whiskey before. I even bought this one here, which is the most expensive bottle of whiskey I ever paid for as a whole bottle. I mean, I've had more expensive whiskeys as samples and as drams, most recently in England. Well, in Scotland I had a Glenmorangie Signet, which was expensive, just a dram. And I also had a dram of Supernova Committee Release, Ardbeg Supernova Committee Release, which cost me a lot, but at least I can say that I've tried it and I've had the experience and I enjoyed it. Well, you know, like Horst Learning would do, he'd say, well, I don't have to open this bottle now because I have a sample, which was most generously sent to me. Not by the distributor in this case, but by Fraser Henderson. Thank you, Fraser. I'm going to be tasting this Water of Windsor 41-year-old. And I also happen to have some 40-year-old as well, right here in my little flask. And I'm going to try them side by side. I still have some 40, yes. I lent a bottle to Trenny and C. I wonder if I'll get any of that back. But I saved some for myself because I also, well, let's just say I've had the 40. But I've got the Canadian Club glass, which was part of the deal of being at the tasting with Tish Harkis. So I'm going to pour. Oh, get this guy open. Okay, here we go. This was sealed very well with saran wrap and in this sort of mason jar. And there's the saran wrap. There's the 41-year-old. Let's pour a wee dram. Well, it's quig size. And I got a few drops. This is not the easiest thing to pour out of. And I've got some 40-year-old here right next to it, which I'm going to pour as well. This is essentially the same whiskey. But the 41 is a year older, and it also has been tweaked a little bit compared to the 40. Now, what is interesting is that the 40 seems to be a little darker. Just a tiny little bit dark. There's the 40, and there's the 41, and I think the 40 is a little bit darker. Well, now, here's the 41. A lot of corn sweetness. It is 100% corn after all, but it has had a little bit of something else added to it. Was it a Oloroso sherry that was added directly to it? I'm getting some fruity notes along with the corn sweetness. This is reminding me of the marinated cherries in a Del Monte fruit cup. Cherries, berries, a little bit of something else, but I can't place it quite yet. What is the 45% alcohol? Just like the 40-year-old, which I have here. This also has a lot of the same corn sweetness, but it doesn't have so much of that maraschino cherry juice. Here I'm getting corn husks, just a lot of corn. Little influence of the rye from the rye barrels that these were aged in. Yeah, the 41 is quite similar. The water of Windsor. But there's a little bit more of that cherryness. Quite a bit more. But the base is the same. It's the same whiskey after all. Let's give this a taste quickly. A little sip. There's a lot of that corn sweetness. But then there's that other sweetness, that sherry kind of sweetness. It's pretty subtle. I think it dries it out, the sherry dries it out a little bit. I know they added some sherry to it. It's a very small amount too. It's less than 1%. Just to give it that little bit of a tint. Wow. Oh. At 45%, it's very smooth. It's not overly complex, but I believe it's a little more complex than the 40. Here's the 40. And I should have filled this glass of water when I started. The 40-year-old is identical, except it doesn't have that little bit of sherry and that maraschino cherry juice flavor. Once again, the 40 is beautiful. The 40 is truly beautiful. It's a masterpiece. It's all corn whiskey, but there's even a hint of that sourness from the rye barrels, that the barrels that contained rye before they contained this corn whiskey. Do I get any of that sourness on the 41? No. The little bit of sherry that's been added to the 41 covers over that little bit of rye that I'm getting on the 40. Now that I've had the two side by side, after the 41, I still have a little bit of that sherryness on the tip of my tongue after the 41. And when I add the 40 to it, it just comes out right away. Oh, excuse me. Then it disappears. Interestingly enough, I get a lot of that corn husk note on both of them. And what they did with the addition of sherry here is, for the 41, I think it brings out a little more. Just been tweaked a little bit. And that maraschino cherry on the nose, that's because of the sherry. Does it say anything on the box here? Chronicles, issue number 1, Water of Windsor. Oh, it's so small, the writing on this. Following the unprecedented release of Canadian Club 40-year-old in 2017, comes a new series, CC Chronicles, which highlights the rich history of the brand. This first issue is the whiskey that was batched and barreled in 1977, and it pays tribute to the birthplace of Canadian Club in Windsor, Canada. The city and the river featured so prominently in our history that CC is often referred to even today as the Water of Windsor, a fitting beginning to its new chapter in our story. Aromas of savory dried fruit, caramel, toasted oak, and baking spices. Finely balanced flavors of dark plum, rich vanilla, bold rye with a warm and lingering finish. I'm not getting much rye. Not getting much rye on this. Okay, dark plum. Yeah, I'll give them that. I was tasting that as maraschino cherry. And toffee? Butterscotch? Yeah, some toffee. I'm just getting mostly corn notes, and what do they say? Rich vanilla. The vanilla doesn't really stand out. I still get that cherry, that marinated maraschino cherry. And that, yeah, you could say cherry plum, somewhere in between the two. I still get those red cherries from the Del Monte Fruit Cup. And toffee and caramel. Okay, there's some toffee and vanilla, yeah. But mostly it's that somewhere between plum and cherry flavor. Now, if I go back to the 40-year-old, I get corn on the nose right away. And I roll that around the tongue. Here, with the 40, I get a lot more rye. I get a lot more rye than I do on the 41, where the rye is covered up by that maraschino cherry plum kind of note. And how are we for vanilla? Yeah, definitely more rye on the 40. The 41 is softer than the 40. Less rye, just as much vanilla and toffee, but the vanilla and toffee on both of them are quite subtle. Along with the rye, the 40 is a little less smooth than the 41. That's not a bad thing. A little bite is good. That's a bite from the rye. 41 again. Now, if I add just a little bit of water, bit of water to the 41, and just a little bit of water to the 40. Let's see what happens. Wow. Both of them are filling my mouth now. I didn't get any crackers or anything like that. On the nose with a bit of water. This may have diminished the fruitiness of the 41. Oh. It's made the fruitiness softer, and it's brought out some more toffee. Okay. Toffee and vanilla. Toffee definitely stands out now. And with the 40, I'm still getting a lot of that corn husk on the nose. Ooh. The rye is still there, but it's a lot sweeter. It's a lot gentler with a little bit of water. What kind of legs do we have? Oh. They're fat legs. And they move down, but slowly. They're still hanging on there. Is the 40. Water tends to take a bit away from the 40. Definitely softens the rye and makes it sweeter. There's some vanilla. Do I get more off the 41? Oh yeah. More vanilla and toffee off the 41. And more rye off the 40. These old Canadian clubs are both excellent. Filling my mouth with flavors of spice and tempting my tongue with sweetness, corn sweetness. Maraschino cherry plum on one side, and on the other side some rye. They're both really good, really excellent. Oh, I'm getting tired now, so I'm going to say cheers and to your very good health right about here. Until next time.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Yeah.